Yo, happy Monday. We're back. Happy Monday, guys. We are back here. Back on another Wolf Bitcoin live Bitcoin and crypto market analysis session. Lots to talk about. We got to catch up. Last time we spoke was Thursday of last week. So we got a lot to catch up on. As always, guys, quick disclaimer, everything we talk about on this show is purely for educational and entertainment purposes only. Nothing we talk about here is to be taken as financial advice or any kind of recommendation to buy, sell, short, any of that. We're just talking about some chart analysis. We're talking about just reading the information that's on these charts and reporting on the current price action for a lot of these. And look, I'll give my opinion in that process. I'll give my opinion of what I think is likely to happen, how I will be looking to play some of the moves in the market. But outside of that, guys, you got to always do your own research, do your own due diligence. You got to be learning. If you're going to get into technical analysis and trading, you got to be learning some of these skills on your own. Go out there, get some education, level up. Do not, I repeat, do not be trying to copy trade strangers on the internet. Please do not. It's a recipe for disaster. Investing and trading is it's risky. You're probably going to lose some money. You might lose all your money. So just keep that in mind. Huge shout out to Public for sponsoring these shows. Public is the investing platform for people who take investing seriously. So whether you're a passive investor, active trader, you can use AI across a wide range of the assets available, stocks, bonds, crypto, options, and use these AI agents and this agentic tools to build a portfolio for the long haul, guys. Put some of your strategies, some of your ideas to work with AI and automate some of your strategies. You can check them out, public.com/wolf, if you want to take a look at what Public is offering there and the solutions and tools that they have available to you. If your brokerage is stuck in the last century and you think it might be time to upgrade and get with the times, go check out Public at public.com/wolf. Look, let's jump into it. I see some folks are coming in here. Let me know if you're joining, by the way, if you're coming in on this beautiful morning here, this beautiful afternoon now, actually. So in this afternoon, this Monday afternoon, you're joining me here. Jump into the chat. Let me know that you're listening. Let me know that you're here with me, hanging out, that you're hanging with the Wolf crew. If you were on the Trader Talk Spaces this morning, appreciate you. But yeah, we're gonna pull up some of these charts. We're gonna look at some of these things here through this TA lens that we all enjoy and we all talk about. So if this is your vibe, this is the kind of video and the type of content you enjoy, please, as you're coming in, if you could take a moment and just give us a repost the stream, drop a comment, make sure at least definitely give us a like. Very simple way to support and make sure that we can continue to do this type of content, continue to support the show sponsors like Public, and continue to grow the Wolf Bitcoin ecosystem. So with that, guys, let's jump into this. So looking at BTC this morning, we'll zoom out a little bit here. Definitely getting a little bit of a pump still, even though it is cooling off here. On the day, still looking amazing. We've been talking about this potential move to the upside here for BTC since the lows. And really, we've maintained that bullish outlook that we thought this was going higher. We are seeing that play out right now. The 3-day, we are coming up to an important level here, basically the top of this current 3-day range. So we will need to pay attention here. I'll highlight it here for you guys in yellow. But you can see this 3-day range that was established on the move down to that 59K sweep. We've had nothing but inside bar since. So we are coming out of this range for the very first time. We've not breached it yet. At some point, though, we are likely to get a candle that breaches outside of that 3-day range. We'll be watching. We'll be careful when that happens. We've had already a couple of examples that we've talked about in the past, but I'll give you one right now where these ranges are powerful. And when you see a breach outside of these ranges, a lot of times it leads to a move all the way across the range. You saw it there. You saw it here, right? Everything was inside, right? Didn't breach the low, didn't breach the high. When you finally had a candle that moved outside of the range, it went all the way to the other side. Same thing here. Everything was inside. Finally had some price action that went outside of the range, went all the way to the other side. Lots of examples of this. I can give you guys another example up here as well. But these ranges, they're powerful. If you can understand how these ranges work, they are powerful. So with that, just putting it in front of you so that you're aware that on this push up here, we are coming to the top of a 3-day range. And soon, if we keep seeing this move up, the top of the 5-day range is up here. This one still has plenty of room to go. So we've already taken the low side. This could be moving to the top side. But my first target that I'm watching, where I suspect we could get a little bit of a cool off, will be here as we're coming up to the top of the 3-day range. And the high here that we need to watch is 67,500. So we'll be watching that 67.5. May as well mark it out now because that is the level to watch on this move up. So we're not quite there yet. Not quite there yet, but we are working our way up here as we speak. So nice little move. Nice little Sunday pump here, similar to last Sunday. I think the risk is that we still could see, just like we got back here last Sunday, pumped, and then Tuesday, Wednesday came and scooped the low of that pump. Could we see a repeat of something like that, where over the next couple days we come back, essentially take that low, consolidate here a little bit, and then that is what builds it up for us to get that next leg higher? It's kind of what I'm considering here. This would probably be my primary case of what I'm looking at. Yeah, what's up, Cade, man? Hopefully you're I think you said you were traveling today. Hopefully your travel goes well. William, what's going on, brother? Great few days. Yes, sir. Tau, Arrow, Render, Hype, everything's doing well. Absolutely, dude. A lot of those, actually every single alt on that list that you just mentioned, they are all, well, with the exception of Hype, they're all under that others category. So I expect them to do really well. But Hype gave us that pullback, right? I mean, we were talking about a pullback below 55, as low as 45, and we got the pullback below 55, man. So that was probably it. We can pull that up a little later on the stream. So appreciate the repost, man. But guys, if you're jumping on and if you're joining us, I love the engagement. I love when you guys come in here and you ask questions, you drop chart requests, you engage. Definitely feel free to do that. That's why we do these. These are meant to be interactive. They're meant to be interactive. They're meant for you guys to come in here and participate. None of this is really scripted for me. I do it all just live, improv. I'm not a scripted kind of guy. So I'm looking at this stuff live, guys. And I'm just giving you my thoughts as I'm processing them live. So don't feel like you got to come in here and just sit quietly. Come in here, drop some comments. Let me know what you're looking at. Drop some chart requests. I'm happy to pull those up. Ask any questions. Challenge my position. Challenge my thesis of what I am believing and currently playing. Right? Challenge that. I welcome that as well. I welcome all of that as well. Lot of good action going on here. Look, I mean, XRP, we talked about the XRP pump. We talked about Solana doing the same thing as BTC. Both of those are getting pumps. I do think, though, if this is all playing out like we've been saying, right? And if this is going to do so far, I mean, we said that this was likely to do all of this ever since that low was put in. I told you guys that we're likely to rally up here. We talked about the pullback to 61 and below. We talked about the pump to 66.6. If you've believed me, in every other part of this move, and you don't, and you're suddenly doubting me now when I'm saying that this is a possibility here. I mean, I'd say it's a little sus. It's a little questionable that you believed everything else, but you're going to doubt this, right? So let's see if we get it. Again, it doesn't mean I can't be wrong, but markets don't go up in a straight line. Markets do not go up in a straight line. Even if this pumps a little bit more, I do suspect there is a pullback coming. So don't FOMO into this type of stuff. Again, I'm not giving you financial advice. You're going to do what you want to do, but it is my opinion. It is my experience. It is my experience and my story to tell that jumping into moves like this rarely ends up well for you. So do with that what you will. Do with that what you will. Let's see here. Oh, William, appreciate the repost, dude. Yes, man. Derek with the repost. Mr. Landy with the comments. Appreciate you, Landy. Yeah, guys, we got a lot to talk about today. We have a lot to talk about today. But so far, this is looking pretty good, guys. I'm glad that we didn't try and fight the trend. That we didn't try and be smarter than the market and try and get ahead of this stuff. Instead, we said, you know what? There's some strength showing up here. Let's get on the side of the strength. Let's get on the side of probability. And let's just ride that. Even if we think, right? Because again, just to be clear, I am not yet. That is a key word. I am not yet on team. The bear market bottom is in and this can only go higher from here. I'm not there yet. I think there's potential that it's roughly in this area. Maybe it doesn't need to go significantly lower. Maybe it's somewhere in here, but there'll be a time element to it. But it could still go lower. There is still a high probability just based on monthly, based on quarterly charts, based on the 6-month and the 12-month, that there could still be more downside. But again, if in these next 15 days, we've got 15 days. If we close above in the next 15 days, if we close above 60K, things are going to look mighty interesting on these charts. Look at this. This is going to look mighty interesting. And the potential for a move higher. I mean, I talked about this. Where's that? I drew it out somewhere. Did I already get rid of it? I might have already got rid of it. But I drew this out on the FOMO Friday stream with Lady Trader, where I said, what happens if this month closes up here next to that other one, and what you actually have is something that looks like a big W right here with basically equal closes, equal wicks to the downside, equal closes on the bodies up here above 67. And then you see a big break above 84 on a monthly chart, and you get a close above this, on the daily, weekly, you start heading higher and you get a break above it on the monthly. What does that look like? I'm thinking things could look interesting. They could look very, very interesting, depending on how that month closes. So we have 15 days. There's 15 days remaining. A lot can happen in 15 days. This thing can come all the way back below 60K in 15 days. There's a lot that can happen in 16 days. But the way this is currently shaping up is looking very, very nice. So we're going to watch it. Level for me again. 67 on a monthly close. Man, we're going to be having some very interesting discussions on this show if that were to happen. Will be very, very interesting if that were to happen. Let me catch up on messages here. Oh shoot, I didn't share did I not share it with I thought I sent it in the chat group. Hold on here. I did not. Let me send it in the chat group so these guys know that I'm live. These guys are missing out. Send via chat. Traders, trading crew, send. All right. We'll let those guys jump in here if they're coming in. Ethereum. Let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum has had a really nice 4-hour break higher. So Ethereum is now above last quarter low as well. This would be the level that I want to see either a nice weekly or monthly close above. Yeah, the monthly would look better than the weekly. The weekly still looks okay, but a monthly close above here. Man, I wonder if we're going to run these highs. Could be that Ethereum. Could ETH be bottoming here? It'd be kind of wild. Hold on. Yeah, this is looking interesting, guys. This is looking very, very interesting, guys. We may have, again, there's 15 days left, but if we can get a nice monthly close, we may have some upside coming. We may have some upside. And again, it may be smart to get on the side of that. If ETH gives a pullback here, but ultimately gets back above this level by the close of the month, this is looking good. Let's look at ETH BTC. Yeah, ETH BTC trying to bounce here. Again, ETH BTC trying to bounce here. No structural break yet. Still very much downtrending. But if we see a move like this that takes out this high over here, then yeah, then we need to be paying attention, because this move could then pull back, give us a higher low before starting to move. Something like that on ETH BTC. So let's keep watching that. Nice little pop on ETH. Again, it's like it's early, but it's putting in some work. It's putting in some work. Let's see if it can do some work, stay above that last quarter low going into the end of the week, and then maybe we can get a little more bullish. But the true confirmation is going to be at the end of the month. XRP doing pretty close to what we thought it could. At some point, I again, same as like the other ones, I do think there's a pullback coming for XRP, probably down back here under $1.20. And that could be the place to get a little pick-me-up trade to the top side. You guys following? Is this making sense? You following along? Let me know. Let me know if this stuff is making sense. Let's see. SpaceX. How's this doing? Oh, what a beautiful thing. What a beautiful chart, guys. We sniped it down here last week at 160. We sniped it at 160 on this dip. That is looking beautiful. How's that doing? Pretty nice. We sniped it on that dip, ladies and gentlemen. All right, cool. It's looking good. Solana doing similar things to XRP. Let's see if we get that pullback. Same thing, guys. For me, the money's in the pullback. There's definitely money to be made in speculating early on that a move like this is coming. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to do it after I did it on BTC. You know, my original entry was down here at like 59.8, and then I added to it here at about 61. So I can't tell you not to speculate early, but the money in these, when you can size in with confidence because you know that something is likely different or starting to show that something else is happening, the money's on these pullbacks, because these pullbacks allow you to get in on a confirmed market structure shift with size, at least for one more leg higher, but usually for the continuation of whatever this move is. And we know that these like to move in waves, right? Three impulsive waves is usually what you get on these trades. One, there's the correction. We're putting in move number 2. At some point, there will be a correction. And then if market still looks good, we then look for the continuation of that move, which would be the third wave, right, of this move here. So this is looking pretty good. So far, this is looking good. Again, stablecoin dominance, we want a sweep of that 3-day range low is what we're looking at on stablecoin dominance, similar to the 3-day range high on BTC, which we have not yet seen. Oh, 3-day range high. So we want to see a sweep of that. And then we'll play. Okay. Scotty, what's up, dude? Good to see you on here, man. 182 in XRP. Let's see here. Yeah, that's if we get the full extension. For now, I think we need to see if it can come up here and into the 150s after a pullback. I think there's a pullback coming. I think there's a pullback. Maybe it needs to come up here like 140, 137 at least, and then it pulls back. But at this point, it's gone high enough where I can now say I'm looking for a pullback on XRP. Let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah, and it may come after it takes this 134. May need to take 134. That's looking pretty good though. That's looking good. Let's look at it on a 2-month, 3-month. Yeah, this looks great, dude. Yeah. Look up here. Even up here would not surprise me. 240-ish. Based on this structure here. If in the next 15 days closes above that last quarter low, really like your first target, which would be probably a TP1, is this. You're about 155. Then you're looking up here, 180, which is that target you're talking about, and potentially even an extension all the way up here. This isn't looking bad at all. Yeah. Every time frame is confirming it. The 6-month and higher are still questionable, but I could see it. Let's look at XRP BTC. Oh, golly. Yeah, look at that. You're even breaking out against BTC right now on XRP. Looks good. Might be making a move for these highs. So first target is just right here, XRP BTC. That's that first one, right into the pocket, basically. But anything's possible, dude. Does not look bad. I think it looks good. That's a nice wick to the downside there, especially having taken out this low that way and then still closing way up here. It's looking bullish. I wouldn't rule this out. I would not rule that out. Have I checked out Injective? Dude, we had a trade on Injective. I need to go see. We had peeled massive profits on it. Let's see if it is. Okay, so yeah, so it's still kind of stuck around the same area where we TP'd. And we were looking for, so this was the original trade. We got it early, original trade, and then we were looking for, I think we were saying like if you jumped in here and you had an invalidation here, could that still go? Look, if you're not in now, I mean, it's even better. Right now, it's currently, you're looking at something like that, something like that potentially here. If you want to be super safe, here, let me hide the original one. Let me hide this as well. If you're shopping now, I think you could possibly take that, but let's look at the weekly really quick. Here, I'm going to hide all this stuff. So this would be a weekly range I'd be watching. High and low here. You got inside bar, currently still inside bar. Let's go look at the 3-day. Yeah. Yeah, check that out. You didn't get a sweep of the low here yet. You may not get it. If it did take this low, though, if it took the low here, maybe even that. If it at least took this low, I'd be pretty psyched about that coming next. Here, let's rework a lot of these levels really quickly because it's been a while since we looked at it. Yeah, so these are still your big candle one formation, your reversal candle here, which is your last quarter. That's still accurate. Let's go to the monthly. We need to update these monthly levels then. And the weekly level as well. So let's grab prior month low. See, this to me, this is where I'm telling you, like, to me, it looks like it almost, I don't like that low. I do not like that low there. But let's see what happens here. So this is what? Prior month high. PML. Okay. Let's look at the week. Let's tidy that up. That's good. This is what? Quarter high, last quarter high. Last quarter low. Last month low. Yeah, that's a gnarly candle here. I'd watch the sweep of this last week's high. If it comes up and it fails there, then it's probably going to go for that sweep of these lows next, and then we'll see if it can set up after for higher after something like that. So maybe let me see. Yeah, this is looking awfully head and shouldery, which aligns with that move down here to take last month's low, unfortunately. So I would say let's watch this to come up, take that previous quarter high, which is also last week's high. And if that fails to get much speed or acceptance above that, then I think there's definitely a move lower, at least to take out these lows and then try and look for a bounce there, maybe. Like that would be your bullish potential if it can do that, if buyers can step in here. If that does not happen, then more than likely this thing needs to come down here, clean up somewhere down here, and then try and build up again for continuation. That's kind of how I'm reading it at the moment. Descending channel there since March. Okay. Yep. How am I feeling about Tau and Arrow? Of course, Will. This guy. Amp with the repost. Appreciate you, dude. Literally, everyone got super bearish and they're waiting lower. I don't people realize that green complacency exists to the downside as well. It goes both ways. It goes both ways. But I will say this, Cowboy, you can have, and this is where a lot of people struggle, is you can have an environment where, much like we're doing, we're being short-term bullish here, waiting for the chart to confirm a longer mid to long-term bullish continuation, or to show the weakness in this rally, because it still does look a little bit, this still has corrective signature so far. On that next pullback, I think we get a lot more clarity if that's the case or not, depending on how that next pullback comes. If it doesn't overlap very much, if this next pullback only does like here, or maybe even just these highs and then goes higher without much overlap, this will start to signal the potential for more impulsive price action following that. Corrective price action is very overlappy like this. This is corrective, where it pulls back 50%, sometimes more. So if we were to see similar, right, like here, for example, off of this low, right, you saw a correction of 62% of that pump was taken back before we went higher, right? So that's overlapping, major overlap. We'll be watching this move here. Let's assume that the high is in now. I don't think it is, but let's just say for the sake of this example, the high is in there. If we saw a big pullback again that starts coming back 60, 70%, that is still overlapping price action. You're overlapping. A lot of the move up is being taken back before the next move up. Overlapping price action almost always is corrective, or as at least hinting at being corrective. Now, if we had a very shallow pullback, like if this thing comes up and instead, it only pulls back, something like that, then this will start to look a little more impulsive and less corrective, right? But there is a world where we can be short-term bullish and still say, hey, the 6 month and 12 month still looks like crap, and I still think that the bottom's not in. That world can coexist, right? That world can work and go both ways, really. Tau and Arrow. Let's go look at Tau, I guess. Yeah, this is an interesting chart, though, but I do think it likely comes back down. I think it likely comes back down. Yeah, let's see. But if it could be setting, okay, so the last note on Injective. If this is going to pull back anyways, this might just be a higher low. Pay attention to this. You've already now, with this move, put in a higher high, right? This is a higher high relative to these highs, relative to this high. This is now a higher high, right? You're going lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower. Like these are lower highs and lower lows, right? Lower lows all the way down. Well, now you put in a higher high. So if you now come down and you put in somewhere over here a higher low, then I do suspect that the next move is, somewhere up here towards this candle one high. Like you would be moving that way next. So this pullback, people are going to, people, like always, people are going to get super bearish on the pullback when you should be getting super bullish on the pullback, right? You should, your spidey senses should start firing here, saying like, ooh, I think there might be an entry soon. And then as it's moving up, it should be the other way. You should be saying, ooh, I think I need to take profits soon. That's where people mess up, man. Right? And I'm not speaking to any of you in particular. I'm just, as a general, I'm just speaking to the camera. I'm speaking to the general audience of this show. Let's go look at Tau. That is not how you spell Tau. Tao. All right. So Tau, man, this would have been the juicy play right here. Has not given it yet. A sweep of this last quarter low, just like every other altcoin has done that we're now bullish on. This would have been sweet. Hasn't happened yet. Doesn't mean it can't happen. Could just mean that it needs to happen a little later on. Right? Could just mean that it needs to happen a little later on. But we don't know yet. Let's hide those. Let's hide them and we'll come back and revisit them at some point. But look, similar to INJ. See right here, you're setting low, low, right? And these are your highs, lower high, lower high. Boom. You suddenly put in a higher high. although this structure here is currently still in a downtrend, could it be that even if it came down, ultimately you're still trying to set a higher low on the higher time frames? Could be. This came back essentially to the point of breakout here, right? So you came back to the point of the breakout, getting a bounce. I mean, if this thing pulls back and it puts in a higher low here, that may have been it. This may have been your quote unquote bull flag. You get your breakout to the top side, and then this thing tries to fire higher. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's get a little more clarity here on this. Let's go to 3 month. But this is one of those that's just like sideways, huh? Yeah, see, there's not a lot of information here. All these levels are still fine. That is a nice 15 days left, but that is a nice looking monthly candle so far on Tau. Really nice looking monthly candle so far on Tau. Let's look at the 2 month. Let's go to 2 week. Okay. Look, if at the end of this week we close this 2 week candle, engulfing the previous 2 week, I think that's a pretty good sign. It's a healthy sign. But then ultimately, again, you could get that pullback and then you go higher. Yeah, this will come and fill at some point. That will absolutely come and fill. That's too strong of a move here. This will come chop up maybe a little bit more, but I do think it comes down and it fills this imbalance down here. Probably close to like this 220, maybe a little bit lower. I mean, it's kind of looking like that W pattern that we're just seeing on BTC and everything else, right? There's your W. There's your big move away from it. Where do you need to come down? Midline of the W. You need to come down to the midline of the W. And then this is that late to the party trade. Essentially, it's like if you missed all of this, you wait for this, and you're late to the party, but hey, you're still at the party. You still get to party. Right? No big deal. The trade, you take it down here. Invalidation is below all of this mess. If you want to be a little more aggressive, it's below the right side of the W. And then ultimately, you're targeting the top of that quarterly range. You're going to take profit around here. This would be your TP range around here. Uh-oh. And I would TP. If I take this trade, I'm going to TP again right here. Previous month high. That'll be my TP2. And then this will be my full target. So if this pulls back, I'm going to take this trade. I'm going to put a stop at least below here. I think to start off, as it gets back above this previous month low, if it starts moving above that, I'll pull it up to the right side of the W. And then as it breaks out over here, it hits TP1. I will put my stop perfectly at underneath whatever structure this ends up being, as close to break even as possible. And then I'll peel TP2. At that point, the stop will be probably below this last month low. Somewhere up here, I'll pull it up. And then we'll let it go to target. But yeah, that's looking pretty good. After a pullback, I think Tau is ready. Nice big pullback. Could take a few days. Could take a week. Nice big pullback. And then I think Tau could be ready to rock and roll here. Which other one did you say? Arrow. Let's go look at Arrow for Will as well. Which chart did we use for this one? Was it the Bybit chart? Yeah, Arrow's looking pretty good. Hold on here. Was it the Bybit chart or was it the KuCoin? KuCoin has more info. Does BingX have more info? No. No, they both look about the same. Okay. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. Arrow's looking all right here. Yeah, this is looking prime. Arrow, I think, is heading up here. So far, that is looking pretty good. let's see what if we're not already in the trade and we want to get in the trade for Arrow. We're looking to participate. We'll dial this up real quick. Hold on. So let's go in here and I'm looking to take this probably to about there. So let's dial it in a little bit. Let's clean it up. Yeah, definitely your stop loss is below that wick, that invalidation. You're participating here. You're looking to take it there. That looks pretty clean. Yep. I would actually even go here. I would go there. Not quite a 1-to-1 yet. And then let's grab a quick. So yeah, coming here, breaking above this high, I'm TPing the first little chunk right here. So I'm TPing here, not because it's a great place to TP, but to de-risk a little bit there. And then the next TP I'm taking is and this actually might be one that I do like three TPs on. So TP1, TP2, and then I'd probably have another one up here. Right? So that'd be my TP3, and then maybe let that runner hit all the way up here. Boom, boom, boom. But it's not going to be in a straight line. Like this move here is going to look something like probably that, probably something like that. And then like that. I'll take some time. This is a weekly chart, right? So each bar on here is a week. So it's going to take some weeks. It's going to take some weeks, some months actually, to do the whole thing. Or it could just go there overnight. We know some of these altcoins do some crazy stuff and they just pump overnight. But realistically, just set proper expectation. It could take weeks and months to go up here. But so far, that's looking pretty good. If it comes back below this low, I'd be very, very careful about that. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Let's see if we can trim up that stop loss any better. No, not yet. I wouldn't be willing to mess with the stop loss a whole lot until this gives a pullback of some sort. That's still flying. So yeah, no, not too bad, dude. I think Tau and Arrow are definitely two to keep an eye on for sure. Those are looking pretty damn good. INJ looking for potential rejection, right? What's up, Goat? Nah, we haven't looked at SUI yet, man. Hype ready for another pullback soon or looking strong? Let's go look at SUI and then we'll finish up with Hype. So SUI is pretty straightforward. Similar to the other ones we've talked about. Let it chop and let it give a pullback. Let it give a pullback at some point, either to the bottom of this or somewhere in here. But there's a pretty good chance it pulls back below that. And then that's where you want to play. You want to play on this pullback. I think there's still a good opportunity that you get a pullback here. But I will be watching anywhere in this imbalance and maybe even scaling into it. But it could sweep this low. I wouldn't be surprised if it takes the low out before the Sunday pump. Yeah, quarterly still looks like crap. But again, we've got 15 days. Really, the only thing I want from SUI is to close above this. Close the month above that, and there could be some upside. Oh, shit. Prior month low. God, that high of last month is way up there. Okay. Last week low here. Could it still need to sweep that last week low? You got volume coming in. Not a ton. It's rejecting right at last week's high. Is there a 3-day range on this? Take the low. Yeah, I still think this should still push up and sweep that previous month low. I think, based on this. After that, there could be a pullback. So what does that look like on the daily? Let's go. What does that look like on the 4-hour? So yeah, this is pretty in line, right, with what we're kind of saying, which is it's probably going to do a little bit of this. Probably going to do a little bit of this. Probably something like that, right? And then at some point, that turns into something like this. Comes somewhere down here. And then that turns into something like that, which then tries to come up here, put in that next move. So I'd be waiting for this thing to roll over here, somewhere heading into that last month low. Somewhere up here. Watch for it to roll over, wait for that pullback. Pullback needs to come at least here, kind of the point of control of this little area down here, at least to fill this imbalance, but probably to sweep these lows. And then we'll see if it can catch a bid there for higher. And then hype. Man, hype is doing hype things, you know? Hype is doing hype things. No, look, hype could be getting a pullback as well, but I don't think it's. I think the chance of it taking out this low is going down. I think this next pullback on hype could. Yeah, it could just be here. Could be a quick little. I mean, may even be to the midline here of the channel before this thing tries to break out higher. This is still very much overlapping though. So at some point, you could still get the move down here if this channel fails. So if this comes back, let's say this comes down, does something like that, then tries to bounce and struggles around here, then you may get that move that then sets up that actual move down here. But you would need this to fail on a bounce. So when you get a pullback, the bounce after the pullback needs to be weak. And if it's weak, you're looking for a lower high, and that could be what gives us the move down here for hype. Overall, this is an area I'm interested in. Hype is that 45 to 55. Very much an area I'm interested in. So let's see what happens if we zoom out on hype. Yeah, that still looks fine. A pullback here still makes sense. Could even come take out these lows. But I think if it's gonna put in another leg higher, it needs to try and stay above here. Ugh. What am I seeing on? Hold on, I need coffee. I'm falling asleep, man. But it's weird because my brain, it just means I need to get up and walk. I've been sitting too much this morning. I was editing video. I was on the space editing video. And it just means I need to go outside, get some sunlight real quick, get a little bit of movement, some fresh air. Especially before we do any more streaming today. These streams will kick your butt being in front of the computer. Aster. Look, I still think Aster's still likely to set something up like this. Even if it has one more sweep, whatever, it doesn't matter. I still think there's a lot of potential for a move like this. For those of you that aren't following these live streams very closely and you've not seen me talk about this, let me show you where this comes from. So this idea for Aster comes from this chart from Aloe. So if you'll notice, similar setup, big sell off, big move, establish a quarterly range, pull back about 50% of that quarterly range, and then pop. Similar thing here. This is the fractal of this Aloe chart overlaid on top of Aster. But similar type of chart, big move down. You've got your quarterly range, pulls back, not quite 50% on this one. This one's closer to like a 30%, 40% pullback. So it could still have one more leg down, but very similar, very, very similar type of structure comparing Aster to this one, and that one popped. And so when you overlay these, like just real quick, just kind of throwing it on top of, not trying to fit it too perfect, and like, just copy paste it, throw it on top. When you do this, even this pump that you saw over here in the pullback, which flipped the quarterly range on Aloe, happens to work pretty well with the Aster chart. It fits the structure there as well. So could get interesting. I think Aster is one of those that, it's time-based capitulation. At some point, it pops. WorldCoin is another one that we've been following and trading. We had a pretty good entry on World. This is moving up. Again, maybe there's another pullback at some point, but this to me looks like there's some strength showing up here. Ondo, we played the Ondo move from down here to here originally. Now we're kind of watching it. To me, this looks like it more than likely wants to complete the entire move. Just a matter of waiting for this to be done, get a big move up, and then should start going. And there's still a lot left. That's over 150% still left, even if you missed the absolute bottom. This is why I keep saying some of these alts, man, they still have 100-200% pops in them. Easy. And guess what? That still doesn't really change the structure. A move like this still doesn't really break out. It doesn't do anything. It just takes you up to resistance. It's funny. So this, let's see here, getting a little bit of a pullback on BTC. Nah, this still looks fine. Still need, in my opinion, sweep that 3-day range high first. So either going into Asia, we're going to see it. During the gap, we'll see it. Or as Asia opens sometime tonight, we'll see that sweep of that 3-day range to the upside. And then I'll be looking to probably hedge and with a short scalp to the downside while we're holding our long position to see if we can get a bounce. And then if we get a bounce somewhere down here in the low 60s, we'll see if we can't get continuation for that next leg up. But that's what I'm doing. That's how I'm going to play all of that. Who the heck is tagging me and stuff, man? And I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about people tagging me in drama. People love to tag me in drama. William says, can agree more. Really enjoy the crew. Awesome, dude. Yeah, we love having you, dude. Having you as a part of the crew here hanging with us. Darth, appreciate you as well, bro. Amp, thank you, sir. Brother Amp, always supporting, always sharing, always reposting, always on the streams. Let's see here. Cool. All right, fellas. Well, look, we're keeping it nice and tight to the point, sticking to 1 hour. We started a little bit late. We started half an hour late today, but we're going to stick to the 1 hour. Appreciate all of you guys for hanging out with us. Guys, if you haven't checked out Public and you're looking for a brokerage in the TradFi space that also has some crypto options, right? It has some crypto options that you can play, but you're looking for somewhere to go trade stocks, bonds, all that type of stuff. Options plays. Go check out public.com/wolf. Go check out their AI suite of tools and solutions that you can use to build automated strategies to take care of some of these trades. That way you can sleep, you can go live your life and have these agents watching for the dips or watching for the moves in the market that you like to trade. Check them out, public.com/wolf. Appreciate each and every one of you guys for hanging with us. Thank you all for the reposts, the likes, the comments. Thanks for the chat and the engagement here. Make sure you're following Wolf Bitcoin on X. Make sure you're following Wolf Bitcoin on YouTube. If you like my content, my style, if you like how I look at the markets and how I speak about the markets, give me a follow at Bits of Wealth on X, at Bits of Wealth Crypto on YouTube. I do a lot of content, not just here on the Wolf account, but also on my personal account. So make sure you're following me over there. I do like to go live again in the evenings. And, we'll look at some more DJing type stuff towards the end of the night. We'll play more of the Poo coins and stuff like that. But here we try and mainly look at Bitcoin. We'll look at stables, Bitcoin, some of the majors. We'll look at the indices and stuff like that. But occasionally we do go into altcoins like we did today. But plug into what I'm doing if you think that it's your vibe, if it's the type of content that you enjoy, and if you like my perspective on it, appreciate a follow. With that, guys, I'm out. Thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you later. Peace.